Hey everybody, Dr. Paula Ruffin. I am here with my very good friend, Amy Allen, and I'm so excited to do this interview today. Amy has been our, well, I should say you are somewhat new, but you don't feel new because you're just so good at what you do.
Well, thank you.
So she's our new DDA director here in Lyon Township. And I got to meet Amy just through the interview process, but she's also been a huge part of the community just south of here in the South Lyon area and was a big advocate for South Lyon. So I wanted to bring her onto the podcast and learn a little bit more about her. She and I are actually on the Lyon Township DDA together, the Downtown Development Authority. For those of you who don't know, we'll get into what a DDA is here shortly, so you know what that is. But in the meantime, welcome. Thanks for being
so much
here.
For having me. This
Absolutely.
is fantastic.
So when you came onto the DDA, how long has it been now?
I think I started December 21, so just about a year and a half almost.
Okay, and it feels like, so, you know, when she came in, there is so much, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And this girl just handled it like a champ. I wasn't my first rodeo, so I would say that it was like you being on a bucking bronco for your first time.
Oh, absolutely.
And you held in for longer than 8 seconds.
Oh, thank you very much.
It was good. So let's go back because you were part of South Lyon for how many years?
Just about 10 years.
Okay, and then what did you love about being in that community?
Yeah, for those that don't know, I was over at South Lyon Area Recreation Authority for just about 10 years. I served as a recreation coordinator when I first began and then moved over to the position of director within my first year. So was there for about 9 years in the director capacity, and so that was creating programs for the community. We had an aquatics program, they do special events, they do leisure enrichment, and I just love the idea of providing services for the community.
Yeah.
So it's helping people match up their interests to activities. So if they like to play soccer, it's getting to see all the kids play soccer, or adults playing soccer, or softball, or the swim programs, and then special events are really where my heart lies. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the great things about this position too, is coming into it, there's still so many opportunities for promotions and special events. So that's a really big part of what I love about this position too. But like you said, one thing that I was really surprised about is just how many different arms there are in this position. And it's been kind of reinvigorating for me to engage in something completely new and just really get to branch out and learn new skills and get to meet lots of great people in the community too.
Yeah, when you came here, did you know, because you were such a large part of South Lyon, were there a lot of people you knew? Were you relatively familiar with the community?
I think through the special events, I got to know a lot of the business owners because we were reaching out for sponsorships for our special events. We were reaching out to entertainment providers, whether it's bands, performers, businesses that provide activities, tents, table rentals, those kinds of things. So I got to know a lot of the local business owners in that capacity. And then at SLERA, they also service not just one area like Lyon Township, but we had 3 communities underneath us: Green Oak, Lyon Township, and South Lyon.
I didn't know
So I actually got to be introduced to all 3 of those communities and learn about the businesses offered in each one of those, the school system that reaches that greater area. So very familiar with the overall community in the area too.
And was that when you had to learn that job? Because that sounds like there's a lot there too. So.
Yeah, and that was, I went to school for Parks and Recreation.
Okay, I was
going
to go into your backstory. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So I was there, graduated from Central. My first job was in Kalamazoo for their recreation department. That's where I actually did my internship.
Okay.
And then first thing after graduation in 2000, I started a position in Kentwood, which is just south of Grand Rapids.
Yep.
As one of the coolest titles, a leisure enrichment coordinator.
Wow, okay.
Great title.
I like that, yeah.
So I was there for about 10 years.
I think we all want our leisure enriched, don't we?
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
Just the business card alone was worth it.
Right.
So I got to do that for about 10 years.
What did you do as a leisure enrichment
That
person?
was coordinating the fitness and enrichment programs. So that would be like yoga classes, kids classes, STEM programs. So most of the recreation departments are pretty specialized. So they usually have some type of leisure or enrichment position, somebody that does sports, somebody that does aquatics, somebody that might do seniors programming. So that was kind of my niche, was that leisure enrichment program. And then when I came over I was there for about 10 years. Our department was going through some downsizing to some budget cuts. And the one thing unfortunate about that position is it's not the moneymaker for most departments.
Yeah.
Aquatic sports tend to bring in a
Parks
lot
and
more
Rec
funds.
really isn't anyway, is it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of, yeah.
Exactly. It's subsidized a lot by tax dollars.
Yeah.
And when you're doing special events and things like that, you're focusing so much on sponsorships. And one of the great things about those positions too is you're working with the businesses, but a lot of what you're focusing on is sponsoring costs. You don't want to, there's no reason to be greedy in that position. I don't want to get $10,000 if the event is only going to cost me $5,000 to put on.
Sure.
But it also means that when funds start to dry up from businesses, you can't provide those programs anymore. So the relevancy of your position is low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, in a really small department, my position was the first one to go, and decided to move over to this area. I had met my husband at the time. He had a child that was over here. And we had said if anything ever happened to my job, we were moving over to Livonia area.
Oh, okay.
So ended up moving within the first couple of months. And then I think within 6 months, I got the position at Slera in South Lyon. Was there,
It's just a
happy.
great evolution.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And then kind of just natural progression. I got comfortable in my position. And I think when COVID hit, it forced all of us to kind of reevaluate what's most important to us, how are we spending our time. And I think I just decided that I was ready for something new to help me engage. I got so caught up in kind of my own little recreation world that when I heard about the position for DDA director and kind of took an opportunity to contact the current one, find out a little bit more about the position, it just seemed like a natural fit for me and something that I was really excited about learning. I think I've always been really curious about how the inner workings of government and businesses work. You know, you think it's so easy from being on the outside. I know we talk all the time. It's like if you think about building something like a parking lot and you're like, okay, let's get the land, let's build it.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, there needs to be
Like
environmental
soil samples,
studies
what?
done, soil samples, all of this other
Yeah.
stuff that no one would ever think about. But I'm a nerd, I admit it, and I find that stuff fascinating just to learn about that process. So this position has been absolutely fantastic. And I also can tend to be an introvert too. So this position kind of forces me to come out of my comfort zone and start to meet a lot of new people and engage in the community. So it's just fascinating, and seeing all the people in the community and the support that this community has in general, not just the public, but the business community. I mean, it's completely unique to this area. I mean, you go up and down the street and every business owner knows each other. They're going to lunch at each other's locations. They're, utilizing the services. It's just really just good to see the support that they have for each other.
And so come to Lyon Township.
Absolutely,
Bring your
please.
business here. Yes, and we can talk to Amy and me. But I'll defer you to Amy to start. But she's right, though. I think that's what I love about being in this community. And I was down a side street for 19 years, and I've been here. It'll be 3 years in July, and just being out here right along the Grand River corridor has been. It's incredible. Like,
Absolutely.
again, this is like a family along this corridor. It's amazing.
It really is.
And same thing, I go across the street to have lunch, or I go across the parking lot and get wine. So
all your necessities are right in this general area.
There's a veterinarian right next door.
Exactly.
Like who needs
Get your
anyone?
taxes done.
That's
You're
right.
good.
It's all good. Yeah. So take me back, because you said you got your degree is in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And so I find, like, my degree was in exercise physiology. So to me, it's like you had to have been living this life prior. So what made you choose to go into Parks and Rec? What was that inspiration coming,
I grew up in Manistee, which is right on Lake Michigan. And my family, we did not have much money at all, so it was find ways to entertain yourself. And one of the things that I've been blessed with was a fantastic family. And so our trips, we had friends that were going to Florida every year, or Disney World, or things like that. And we went camping.
Yeah.
We would go 2 towns over and go camp for a weekend, or we'd go to Sleeping Bear Dunes and hike, or we'd go out hunting, for morel mushrooms, in the spring.
Do you forage?
So
Do you forage other than morels?
I do not.
Okay.
I would love to get back into that type of
Okay.
stuff because my dad did that a lot. And
Okay.
side note, we were talking about rodeos earlier. Paula will have stories for you. But my dad used to live all over the country. I think he's lived in almost every state. Sadly, he passed away when I was 20, but he had constant stories. And he actually used to work for rodeo for a while.
Really?
And one of my favorite
did he do?
pictures, roping.
Oh,
So he worked.
how cool is that? We are going to the rodeo this summer.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to. We used to go when they had a few smaller ones that would tour around Michigan. And one of my favorite pictures of him is he would lead mule tours in the Grand Canyon too.
Wow.
So there's a picture of him leading a group there. So he was always an outdoors person.
Yeah.
It was fishing, it was hiking, it was, building campfires. And growing up, we had horses, we had rabbits, we had pigs, we had cows,
Yeah.
we had sheep, we had everything. So it was always an outdoor person. So originally I wanted to work for the DNR. So that's kind of the
I was gonna
career
say,
that I went into.
that seems like a good.
Yeah. So I had gone to school and I didn't pick Central because of the program itself. It's just kind of scholarships, finances allowed me to go that it wasn't too far away that we couldn't afford it. So went there and was trying to figure out how to get into, okay, what do? I want to be in the DNR. How do I do that? So I started doing some research on programs, and then a couple of my friends that I had met had asked me, well, what do you want to end up doing? And I'm like, well, I love working, I want to be outdoors. I want to work at a state park. And then we were actually playing in a softball league and kind of talking about some softball stuff. And they're like, well, you can kind of do a little bit of both. They're like, why don't you check out the recreation field? And I'm like, recreation? Like,
Yeah. It's a
that's
thing?
like, yeah.
Is that a thing?
Is that a profession? Can you really
Right.
get paid for recreation? And they're like, oh yeah, Parks and Recreation, look it up. And so I had had a meeting with the advisor, talked about it. And she's like, oh yeah, you can do, work in nature centers, you can
Yeah.
work for zoos, aquariums, there's this whole wide variety. And their recreation program was broken down into kind of therapeutic recreation, which works on therapy, community recreation, which is the city municipality recreation departments, commercial, which is like your tourism, your hotels, your resorts, things like that, and then outdoor, which focuses on hiking, eco kind of tours.
Right.
So I ended up majoring in outdoor recreation, and when it came time to do internships, Central required you to do a full year internship before you could graduate. And again, financial situation, I couldn't take a non-paid internship because you have to pay for school at the same time that you're doing an internship. And so the only thing, outdoor recreation was all, you would get a stipend or you would get like your room and board paid for to go work at a park for a while. And I just couldn't afford to do that. I had to be able to pay for my credits. So I ended up getting an internship in community recreation for the city of Kalamazoo.
Okay.
And so I led their summer camp. I got to lead that program. I got to create a counselor and training program with the kids. I got to work on their haunted house season that they did, the haunted trail. And I loved it. I was like, I did not know this is what community recreation was. And so that's kind of how I got into that field.
That's amazing.
So,
I love it. When I was in college, one of my summer jobs was I was a playground leader for the Parks and Rec out in, I lived out in California, Northern California. I forget which county it was, but we had 7 playgrounds and they needed 2 playground leaders per playground. And it was basically like day summer camp, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic.
So the kids would come every day and we had structure, like, okay, these are the things we were going to do each day, but then, we had a creek behind there. We'd go get crawfish and frogs and, we'd play, that was in the days when you could still play dodgeball. My playground partner, he decided one day that we should play human bowling with the dodgeball. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we'd get locked up for this today. So he lined the kids up like bowling pins and then took the dodgeball and
oh no.
And they loved it. They thought it was the greatest thing on the planet that we were playing human
Different generations for sure, because now not so much.
No, like I said, I'm pretty sure we'd be in jail.
Oh, for
that one.
Yeah.
but I think too, yeah, I actually had considered, you know, as
Who
a
wouldn't want to
career.
get paid for that,
Right?
you know?
I mean, I was like, wait, I'm getting paid to go play and play with kids all day long, like super fun.
Who knew there was a whole culture based
Right?
around it too? Yeah.
No idea. So that's super cool. So I think we need to go to a rodeo this summer.
I'm on.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. All right, for sure. Because I'm like kind of bit by that bug too.
It's fantastic.
And
it really is.
and some foraging. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like that we could go to some foraging classes, some fun things.
That sounds great.
That could be something we could put together for the DDA, don't you think?
I like it.
Like bring in a foraging expert, maybe go.
Think of
do
all
a-
the businesses that utilize ingredients that we could work into that too.
Yes, we're brainstorming.
I'm seeing some new beer flavors, some new wine flavors.
Yes, morel wine. No. No.
The most expensive wine
Exactly.
ever.
Yeah.
If you do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So actually, this is Amy too. By the way, is that once you give her one idea, it's like if you need any help with business promotion,
Marketing
charity,
solutions,
marketing,
charity,
any of that
kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's like her brain starts going and it's off the chains.
It's hard to turn off.
Yeah.
Between Paula and I, the conversation will just go and go.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's come fast forward coming into the DDA. So, yeah, major learning curve. I know when I came in, it was like, and I wasn't leading anything. I was just part of the board.
Yeah.
But the things that it took me a year to understand what the drain meant.
Yeah. I'm still working on that one, but yeah, it's encompassing. I think it's so much of it is the DDA really focuses on 4 different arms.
Okay, wait, before we go there,
go ahead. Yep.
To give everybody the difference between the township and the DDA. Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yep, so the DDA is Downtown Development Authority. So we actually have a boundary within the township. So not all of the township is within the DDA, but all of the DDA is within the township. Mm-hmm. So what happens is we are financed through a tax increment financing plan. So basically what happens...
That's called the TIF plan,
yes, the
which
TIF plan.
I had to ask months later what TIF stood for. Like they speak a whole language there.
Yeah,
and you have to,
every job
like,
has
what
its
does
own
that mean?
acronyms, its own language. It was a lot of learning crash course on that type of stuff. So what happened is when the DDA was formed, and I believe this one was formed in '99, they took the taxable value of our boundaries. So everything within the boundaries had a specific tax value. And then what happens is the purpose of the DDA is to help increase that value, to help attract more businesses, to help improve current businesses, to raise property values, to help make things better in your community. So once you create that DDA district, if it's in 1999, then as the tax value increases, that increase is captured by the DDA and utilized to help fund our projects and programs that the hope is in turn continue to raise that property value. So we don't use everybody's tax dollars. Everybody thinks that, oh, my taxes are going towards this and this and this. It's only within that DDA boundary system, and it's only the increase of the value from when the DDA was created. So it's a very small portion of tax dollars that actually go towards that.
And then we also, we get some grant funding also from...
Yes, absolutely. We utilize grant funds, we utilize sponsorships, so we have all different revenue streams that we focus on.
And the DDA, this has been, as far as being on the DDA, our volunteer group is, I've never been part of any kind of committee or organization where we haven't had incredible volunteers.
Absolutely.
And then generous, very generous sponsors.
Yes.
You know, how many events have we had where we've had the event paid for even before we got to the event, long before we got to the event, because our sponsors were like, here, and you know.
Since I've been involved, since I came on board in 2021, we haven't had an event that hasn't had full sponsorship. So we've been blessed, and a lot of those volunteers, we always accept additional volunteers, community members, kids. We do have opportunities for kids to volunteer too. Seniors, we have opportunities there. But one of the great things, scouts, groups can come in, and you know, you can either volunteer individually or as a group. But one of the things that I've really noticed too is that a majority, not all, but a majority of our volunteers are business owners too in the community. So it's just, it amazes me that they're willing to almost double dip their time. Not only are they a business getting involved, but they're personally getting involved with donating their time to all of these events and activities too. So it's been fantastic to see.
Well, and the beautiful thing about it is most of the events are free. We haven't had one paid event.
No, all of them are free so far.
All the events that we're putting on are free, so that makes it, a great resource for the community as far as like if people have a family of 3 or 4 kids, and if we're charging $10 a head for something that can get expensive for people.
Absolutely,
so,
it adds up quickly.
Yeah, so I think it's and I don't know how it's been historically, but I just find it fascinating that everybody's jumping in and
absolutely. I think there's a lot of organizations, and whether it's nonprofits, they all deal with the same thing about sponsorship dollars or funding and everything else, and it's just been really great to see the local businesses getting involved in that aspect and not having to charge and being able to run these programs. And then we've been really blessed with getting additional sponsors, and like I said earlier, you never want to get greedy when it comes to this. We only want to get sponsors for what we're actually providing. We've been blessed with a couple of the opportunities where we've had sponsors step up and say, well, hey, let's add this to the event and I'll cover the cost.
Yeah.
And that's been fantastic to see where we start with some of these programs to now going into year 2, and they've already almost doubled in what we're able to provide at these programs too. So
well,
it's been great.
I'm going to go right to, let's talk about music on the Grand.
Yep.
Because now, because of our generous sponsors, we now have not a permanent stage, but we're going to have like
Oakland County Parks and Recreation has a mobile stage that they rent out, and because of the sponsorships that we've gotten, we've been able to secure that stage for every one of our concerts this summer.
8?
So 6 concerts.
6, okay.
Yep, it'll be June 7th, 21st, July 5th, 19th, August 2nd, and 16th. I've been doing too much with this. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and last year we were able to get the stage for our last event of the year.
Yep, through an Oakland County RAP grant. So we had worked with Oakland County for that. And this year, since we didn't have to apply for the stages, we're utilizing that grant to offer some of their inflatables and activities at each one of the events too. So we're going to have some fun activities for kids. So it's not just a concert anymore. We're also having, bounce house at some of them, climbing wall. We're having businesses come out and do tents where they're providing face painting. We have all sorts of really fun activities. We'll have a food truck out at each event, so food will be available for purchase. That's the only thing that's not free at the activities. But there's going to be tons to do. And we're working with our July 19th one. We're actually doing a new program this year. It's a volunteer appreciation event. So we're inviting all of our volunteers from last year to attend that concert. We're providing them a free meal. They get a little appreciation gift from the DDA, so there are benefits to volunteering. But we're really pushing that concert. We have scheduled a Beatles tribute band that's going to be playing that night. Through the Oakland County RAP program, they bring a portable mural wall that the kids can color.
So cool.
We'll have a tie-dye station. We're going to have a bubble zone. Our sponsor for that night, South Lyon Fence, is providing face painting with Dana Johnston for free for the kids.
Yeah.
Right, so we haven't made it official yet with the business name, but we have somebody that's going to be sponsoring senior transportation this year.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we're really excited about that. One of the feedback items that we had gotten last year was that a lot of the seniors, it was hard for them to get to this location because we're right along Grand River here, and it just wasn't convenient for them. So we have a business that's stepping up that's going to be sponsoring. We're going to be utilizing People's Express, and they'll be shuttling we're confirmed for the Center of Active Adults, and
so
hopefully Abbey Park, we're hoping to get on board so that we can offer their residents transportation to and from the concerts this summer.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. We tried to make it happen last year, but it just didn't come together quick enough and felt kind of rushed, so we decided to try it again this year. And I think the second business that I approached jumped at the opportunity. So
that's so cool.
We'll be officially announcing it pretty soon, and just excited.
I love it. Well, and just thinking about the evolution, I think it's okay that we didn't have it all figured out, because this past year with all the events was all about feedback, and each one built upon the next, and we got new ideas, and we had new ideas for how we wanted the sponsorships to be and how we wanted the bands to be, and it was amazing to watch it all unfold. And I think
this is only year 2.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. We only had year 1, right? What I thought was really amazing was our first one. We had we had probably 80 people
Yeah, right around there.
and I thought that was amazing. And then each one built upon the next. And I think by the final one, we had over 200 people?
Yeah,
or
I think
so?
between
Yeah.
2 to 250. So we
Yeah.
had quite a few people that were coming in and out that night, and
Yeah.
yeah, it really picked up, and we were excited to see it,
Yeah.
start from that little group and just get bigger and bigger. And the number of businesses that wanted to participate by providing activities
Yeah.
grew, and now we're almost doubled the amount of people that we're having participate in each of the concerts. So, there's so many ideas. There's no limit to what you can offer. When
Yeah.
you have a great volunteer base, you have motivated individuals, great partnerships like with the New Hudson United Methodist Church, who gets active in each one of these events. They're not only hosting the site, but they're actually have their staff out doing bake sales to raise funds
Yeah.
for their church.
Their volunteers are amazing.
Yeah, we've been, use the word blessed when
Yeah.
we're working with the church, but we've
Yeah.
been blessed to
It's
be
true.
able to
It's
work
so
with them.
true.
So,
Yeah. Well, I love too that having you on board, and then of course working with Troy. We'll get an interview with Troy. Troy's our chairman of the DDA, and
Yeah.
he's been a part of the community forever. And so the three of us work together so beautifully with all the
Yeah.
volunteers, and it's just been really fun. It's breathed life, I feel, into
Yeah.
my involvement in the community, and
Yeah.
just to see everybody coming together and have that connection and the collaboration, and then
Yeah.
just being able to connect with you, and there was a little bit of, okay, we're getting a new director. Oh God, is she gonna be one of us? Is she gonna be cool? Is she gonna be fun? And we couldn't be happier. And
Well, it's been fantastic. It really has. And coming on board, funny enough, I knew Troy from my work over at Slera. Like I said, you get involved with entertainment providers and everything else. And just getting to meet all of the business owners in this community, it's really been amazing just to see how engaged everybody is. And I didn't have any idea what to expect with the DDA board, and to see how many different aspects there are of the DDA as an organization. But so many people want to jump on board and get involved. We have a committee that deals strictly with our promotions arm, and we have probably 15 to 20 on a regular basis that actually meet every other week, which is a huge time commitment when you're talking about volunteers. And it's in the morning, it's not after work, it's not before work. They're taking time out of their busy schedules to come in and talk about how they can help out in offering all these great events. And then for the first time this year, we actually have committee members that are coming up saying, I want to run this brand new program. We're offering a Touch a Truck program this summer, which is a first time for the DDA.
Tell them about that.
Yeah, we had Lowe's, which is in our DDA district. Their new manager, Steve, has signed on, and he wants to lead our Touch a Truck event. He's working with a couple other committee members, and it's going to be taking place at their parking lot on, I believe, July 23rd, which is a Thursday, from noon to 3. And we're going to be contacting local businesses that deal with the typical big trucks. So it might be a construction truck, it might be a fire truck with a boom arm, it might be a DTE truck, a cement truck, all these types of things that kids can climb on, they can touch, they can see, can the sirens run.
So fun. I want to climb on those.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Right?
fantastic event.
Yeah.
There's even talks of trying to get a helicopter landing at the event.
Oh
So
my gosh.
we're going to see what happens. But we're working with Oakland County Parks through their grant program.
Yeah.
They'll have a climbing wall on site. So if the kids come, bring closed-toed shoes and socks so they can participate in that. We'll have Cottage Inn, I believe, is doing food at the event available for purchase. So it's just going to be a really fantastic event. I think the first 100 kids there are going to get a free goodie bag with donated items from all the businesses that want to get involved.
Amazing.
So we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is the first time that we've had somebody from the committee outside of the core group of DDA board members just say, I want to run this event.
Yeah.
And it's been fantastic to see.
Awesome. Well, and I think what we need to do in the near future episode is we'll have Troy and Amy, and we'll talk about all the different events, what's coming up,
That'd be great.
who's involved, how let's give you guys the opportunity to to go through the whole thing of events and what we're doing and how we're doing it. And if anybody wants to volunteer, we always could use more volunteers. If you see an opportunity for sponsorship here, just reach out to Amy or me and we can talk to you about what that looks like and how you can get involved, because honestly, none of this would happen if we didn't have a strong volunteer group.
Absolutely.
So,
and we've actually created a whole marketing campaign around this, everything being on the Grand this year. So we created it's called Fun on the Grand series, and we created a new website for our promotions arm. So it's funonthegrand.com. So you can go on there, get all the information about all of the activities, volunteer opportunities. We even on that website have a listing of area businesses broken down by category. So if you want to see what restaurants are in the DDA, what health service providers, just go on that website, funonthegrand.com. We also have our DDA Facebook page. We've got Instagram. So please follow us on social media so that you get the first updates on everything that's going on.
Love it. And I'll make sure I drop those links in here so you have access to those. And I'll drop Amy's information. And of course, my information is always in the show notes, so you have those. And is there anything else you want people to know?
I think just visit the website, check out all that we have going on, and please, if you see the opportunity to get involved, if you're interested in something that we're running, do so. Otherwise, just come out and visit us at one of the events.
Yeah, perfect. And if you can't get involved, I know you know somebody who can or who would like to. So make sure you tag them, share this video with them, or share the Fun on the Grand website so that they can get involved too. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Amy.
Thank you, Paula.
It's really been so fun to connect as always. We will see you on the next one. I always appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe to this page and please share it with all this really great information for the community. Thanks again, Amy, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you soon.